Moreover, it uses lower cost propellant. So it's a 3.5 to 1 mass ratio of oxygen to fuel, and the fuel is liquid methane, which is the lowest cost fuel in the world. And the pressurant is autogenous oxygen and methane gas instead of helium with Falcon 9. So Falcon 9 uses helium. It uses rocket propellant grade jet fuel essentially, which is actually quite expensive, and helium for pressure, which is quite expensive. So the cost of propellant for Starship, even though it is much bigger, will be really comparable to the cost of propellant for Falcon 9, but it will have full and rapid reusability. So the crazy thing is that if things go as according to plan, we'll have a rocket with 100-ton to orbit capability that has a marginal cost per launch of around $2 million, which is less than our little Falcon 1 rocket that we started out with. And then with a rocket like with Starlink, or with Starship, I should say, when you add in orbital refilling, which really means that 2 Starships need to dock on orbit, one transferring propellant to the other, sort of like aircraft aerial refueling, but this is orbital refilling, primarily of oxygen. Then you can deliver over 100 tons to the surface of the moon or Mars, possibly 200 tons. So Starship is the first system that will be capable of building a base on the moon and a city on Mars.
And when will we see Starship, Elon?
Well, you can see its progress online right now. It's followed quite rigorously on the internet. In fact, often if I want to see what the latest thing is, I just go on the internet because it's being developed in South Texas right next to a public road. So never members of the public have telephoto lenses pointed at our vehicle all the time. So we're hoping to do our first orbital launch attempt in the next few months, and we'll certainly will have a booster and a ship, an orbital capable booster and an orbital capable ship, and the orbital launch site will all be ready within the next month or so.
Elon, I also understand that there may be a rocket launch later today in just a few hours.
Yes, this is another Falcon 9 launch. This is one of our transporter missions where we do a whole bunch of small satellites from mostly from third parties. So it's this is sort of like the equivalent of like a bus. Just many small satellites from many different parts of the world that are not ours are being launched into orbit, hopefully successfully later today.
Elon, we only have a couple of minutes left. Just as a kind of closing thoughts and reflections, Elon. I mean, all this week at MWC, it's obviously been great to come back to events in person. We've been talking a lot about leadership this week. And as a leader, you seem to be mission-driven. And I'm wondering what kind of criteria you look for when you take on new challenges, because you seem to go for challenges and not just necessarily opportunities. What kind of gets you really excited?
Well, yeah, I suppose so. What SpaceX is trying to do is to extend consciousness, the scope and scale of consciousness beyond Earth, and then what Tesla is trying to do is to sort of ensure that life is good on Earth, with sustainable energy, and Neuralink is sort of oriented towards long-term AI-human symbiosis. So, I mean, generally these companies are oriented towards like what what actions can I think of to do to maximize the probability that the future is good, and that future includes an expansion of the scope and scale of consciousness. And this is based on my fundamental philosophy of, we don't really know what all the answers are, or even what questions to ask. But if we're able to expand the scope and scale of consciousness, then we are better able to know what questions to ask about the answer that is the universe.
With that, Elon, sadly, we are out of time. It has been an absolute pleasure to talk with you today. We've been delighted to host you at MWC. Thank you so much for your time. I'd also like to say, obviously, we've been talking to you virtually. The invitation is there if you would ever like to come to MWC in person, perhaps February 22. We would love to host you again. Thank you so much for your time. Best of luck with the Starlink project and obviously the wider SpaceX program. Ladies and gentlemen, please give the biggest hand to Mr. Elon Musk. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Elon.